Before we move on from Jim Chalmers, he's announced his appointments to the RBA's new interest rate setting board. We've got RBA Governor Michelle Bullock, we've got an RBA Deputy Governor, the Treasury Secretary, an economist, a university professor, a former bank boss, and a couple of company directors. But here's what the Treasurer said today.
So these are high quality, high calibre people, and together they represent the best mix of relevant skills and abilities and experience. I'm very proud to say that women will make up the majority of both boards, and this continues the very substantial progress that we've made when it comes to appointments in the Treasury portfolio.
Michael Kroger, I'm sure they're all very qualified, but why does the Treasurer make it about gender? Does anybody really care?
Yeah, they do care. They want people appointed on the basis of their ability. Now, look, they probably have been appointed on the basis of ability and they look very well qualified, as you said. But why does Chalmers want to say, oh, we've got a majority of women, i.e. maybe they're not the best qualified, but they're women, that's why we've appointed them? I mean, no one wants to be known to be a diversity hire. Someone's got to give this guy the memo. We're past peak woke now. People are tired of this nonsense, right? If you're going in for neurosurgery, do you want to be told that the neurosurgeon is not the top person in the field, only got into the course as a diversity person and is not really, the top neurosurgeon, but is trying their best? Well, no one wants to be told I'm on the Reserve Bank board possibly because I'm a woman. It's insulting to those women who've got excellent, outstanding careers. It's just insulting. And as I said, someone should tell this bloke, we're over all this nonsense. We want people to the Reserve Bank board and these senior positions appointed on the basis of their ability.
And it's insulting to people who are struggling with their mortgages as well. I mean, as if we care about the sex of the people on the interest rate board. We just want interest rates to come down, sort out the economy. Going back to Victoria for a moment, James Ashby, as if Victorians haven't suffered enough, Premier Jacinta Allen is planning to force households off gas. But here's a surprise. It looks like an absolute vote killer. Who knew? A new poll by Redbridge has found people are less likely to vote for the Labor government because of the no gas policy. And that's Labor voters too. 30% of Labor supporters said they would be less likely to vote for the government due to its gas phase-out plans. That's a big hit for Jacinta Allen, James.
Oh, you bet. And I suspect that this polling has prompted other polling. Just before coming to air, I took a poll from UComs on this exact same issue on energy transition. So there is more and more polling. I think as we get closer to another federal election, these sorts of polls are going to take precedence. The issue is Victoria is a different state to the ACT, who made this announcement they were going to transition all those houses over to electricity all those years ago. The ACT earns a lot more money. There's a lot more wealth in that territory. But Victoria, and the polls were done in some of those marginal seats, it says a completely different story here. People want choice. They're happy with their gas. They don't want the cost of having to refit their entire kitchen out. And if you're a migrant who loves to cook with gas, especially the Asian community, I don't think electricity, I know myself, an induction cooktop's never going to cut it versus that of a hot wok on gas, that's for sure.
I'll tell you the other thing that was interesting about this poll, Michael, is that only 30% of Greens voters said they would be prepared to cop the cost themselves to move from... Why are you laughing, Michael? You thought Greens were committed to it.
They're committed, aren't they?
I always thought so.
10 out of 10.
70% of them apparently said we're not paying out of our own pocket.
And 90% of the public said we're not paying for this. I mean,
that's correct.
There's another memo that needs to go to Jacinta Allen. Jacinta, there's a cost of living crisis. People are not so worried about whether it's gas, gas or not. Mm-hmm. What they can't afford is to put food on the table. They can't afford to put food in the wok. But listen, here's the bigger point about what Allen's doing. I think there's now an extreme likelihood that Jacinta Allen will be dumped as Labor leader before the next state election. I can't see Labor
big call.
Sticking with her. Big call. I haven't got one wrong yet. For a long, long time, I would think Jacinta... In fact, I can't think of the last one I got wrong. Jacinta Allen won't lead the Labor Party to the 26th election. She's too tainted by Daniel Andrews. She's too yesterday's person. The baggage of that hopeless Tim Pallas and the whole Andrews era is wrapped around her. She doesn't look like the future. She looks like a relic from the train wreck from the past. She can't survive as leader. She's going to lose, and they're going to dump her and put in the deputy, Ben Carroll. That would be my guess. He doesn't have the numbers because he's in the minority, but sooner or later, our good friend Stephen Conroy and the other people that, can manipulate these things, they'll dump her, they'll put in Carroll. Carroll's got all those sort of Chris Minns. He looks to me like a Chris Minns, moderate, sensible, younger, newer, fresher. And if you notice, Minns had an argument. He said something critical of Daniel Andrews the other week, just to distance himself from Andrews. Yep. So it's like, I'm not him. I'm more a Chris Minns. I'm more a Malinowskis. That's what they're going to do. I don't think she can survive.
It's funny. I don't know if I'm imagining this, but whenever I see Jacinta Allen at a press conference, her demeanour, her manner is very much like Dan Andrews.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that, James?
Yeah.
I was just saying it might be a good time for the Liberals to dump their state leader as well. Yeah, I was being a little smart, but also quite serious at the same time.
Right, very good, very good. I just don't think she can survive, mate. I just don't.
We'll see. I agree with you, James. I think the Liberals aren't much chop either. They could do with a change there as well.